What's going on, all? It is what is today? Actually, Friday, the 4th of February. So things are cranking along for us here. I can't even keep up with what day is what anymore. But a couple of things I want to get into, and I don't want to let this go too long, but it can easily get real long. Just some interesting stuff going on out there. I was watching the National Real Estate Post this morning as I'm eating breakfast, and some interesting stuff as I'm looking back on some of the archived things over the last week. And they were talking about some information that came out from NAR, in the National Association of Realtors, and they're showing what the current, how many realtors are out there, and there is more realtors now that are members of the National Association of Realtors than ever in history. Right, somewhere in the range. I'm looking at my numbers here, 1.46 million to be exact. That's a ridiculous amount of realtors out there. Right. So who's that good for? Right. The National Association of Realtors gets to collect a lot of dues, according to these guys. But what does it do for the real estate world? Well, when you think about what's going on out there, there's a lot of there's some professional realtors out there that have a job that is strictly real estate, and they've been doing it for years, and they do a great job, and they do high volume. But when you think about what's going on out there, those guys are having to fight, the Redfins, the Zillows, the OfferPads, the Open Doors of the world, and fight the novice, right? The people just coming in. It's like, somebody's sister-in-law just got their real estate license and she doesn't have anything else going on, and she's going to potentially get a transaction, and then she's going to get that transaction. It's going to be a very, very part-time deal for her, which becomes a very part-time transaction, which eventually becomes probably a dissatisfied client who now is going to paint every realtor as such, and possibly give more fuel to these Redfins, Open Doors, OfferPads, these other guys, right? So my thought, as is the thoughts of the guys who are putting this out, that it's just not really, it's kind of not a good thing to have just all this just enormous amount of people in the market claiming to be something, but in reality, the real professionals are getting drowned out. The noise is completely muting those who do a great job to help people to find real estate and take care of them. When you look at what's going on in inventories, right? We're 40.5%, nearly half of the inventory that we had pre-pandemic, right? 40.5% drop pre-pandemic, 2019 inventory levels, right? So what does that mean? According to the numbers that they're talking about here, for every realtor, that's 0.65 listings, not just barely over a half a listing per year, as far as what inventory is out there. So the true professional, they're being silenced, and they're not going to have the opportunity to get the business out there should be out there for the professionals, unless we as the consumers are very discerning about who we work with, period. Right? So how do we do that? We as a consumer that are doing that kind of thing, you need to it's relationships. Everything is relationships. Business is all about relationships. There is no such thing as, well, I'm sure there's gadgets, right? The next, the mousetrap, as they want to call it, the better mousetrap. But for the most part, relationships are what's going to accomplish everything you need to do. Now, this also goes for the loan piece of it as well. We as loan originators, over 300,000 of us, right? So when you start looking what's available out there, average person is doing 2 to 3 transactions per month. That's the average. That means there's a lot of people doing zero, nothing, maybe 3 or 4 a year. That's out there, right? So why is that a big deal, right? That person might give you a great deal. Well, let's think about the risks of working with the non-professional, right? A person you're doing 1 transaction a month, 2 transactions, 3 transactions per month, whether it's a realtor or whether it's a loan originator. And let's say you're looking at some things associated with that deal that have you concerned. You may be worried, is this the deal I should be getting into? There's some problems here. And I'm potentially taking on some risk here. Does this person have my best interest in mind? Well, if you're 100% of their income or 50% of their income or a third of their income that month, do you think that they're going to be, let's talk about potential risk for you, or they're going to use every bit of sales skill they've ever been given, any class they ever took, anything that their broker or their boss or the bank that they work with put them into this little sales course? They use everything at their disposal to convince you to keep moving forward, because that's a big chunk, if not all, their income. But if you're working a professional that's doing 20, 30 transactions a month on the real estate side, or myself doing 100 plus, your 1 transaction is not going to kill us if it doesn't go through. We need you to be successful in what your outcome is. We need you to be happy. We need you to scream from the rooftops that we kicked ass for you, because that's what means that our business continues to thrive. So think about those things before you start looking at who's going to give you the best deal on the front end. What about the back end? It could really cripple you. So I'm going to stop talking about that stuff for right now. You know, and I advocate for the profession. My mother's a realtor. She's been a realtor here in Arizona for over 20 years. She was a realtor in Utah many years before that. She's a professional. She's been doing it a very long time. There's those who helped me to get where I'm at, right? Carolyn Irby with Coldwell Banker. I don't even know if she's still with Coldwell Banker. We haven't done much business together, but I still will scream that woman's name to the rooftops because she helped me recover after my accident. And if anybody's interested in that story, I'll share with that later. But professional people out there are out there for a reason. You want to work with them and work with them only. So let's go ahead and get into the markets now. So just this week, we had seen that, you know, there was different things in the market that were showing that we had an economy that was fairly waning, right? Cost of what was being produced out there, what was being bought, was being sold, really showing a weaker economy. Then today we get the jobs reports, right? Much higher than what was anticipated, right? So we were expecting, I don't even have the numbers in front of me. I wished I did. I was so caught up in this realtor stuff that it was kind of throwing me off, but let's just say it is enormous comparison. So what does that mean, right? So the labor market showing that we have more jobs that are created. Now we've got this. Now we got what we have here with the enough to show the economy was weak yesterday, that we didn't have a whole lot of movement in the bonds, right? Kept it in this channel. Now all of a sudden, because this jobs report comes out saying there's more people that are working, I don't know what's going on with the wage piece of it, but I know the wage inflation is going up. So that's also weakening our economy. What we have here is a lot of sell-off. We saw it was very, very extreme sell-off this morning. And as a result of that jobs report, now we're sitting in a position where, you know, bonds are waning a bit. Now, I think that's a knee-jerk reaction. We're probably going to crawl back since I saw this quick reaction back, massive sell-off, then a climb back. We'll probably come back up into these levels again once things get digested, because in reality, our economy is much weaker than we anticipate. I think that there's a lot of information being passed out there that may or may not be completely accurate when it comes to inflation and what's happening, as we know that, right? There's no news to you about inaccurate tallying of data to make things look a little bit better than they really are. So we'll see how that shakes out. But again, the effect of the interest rates, they're going to go up. We know they're going to go up. They've been on their way up. Actually, the fact they are holding this long is still surprising at these levels, but something for us not to worry about, because with inflation doing what it's doing, we know we're never being paying that anyway, right? So let's get into the next step of what I wanted to share with you guys. I've got some new things happening within my team. So let me introduce you to Brianna Stamps. You'll recognize the background there. She is sitting in the spot that I'm usually sitting at, but right now she's getting integrated into the team. How you doing this morning, Brianna?
I'm great. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. So I just got done dealing with everybody about what's going on in the market to the best of my ability in a short window of time, but wanted to be sure that you guys got to meet Brianna. You're going to see a lot of her coming in actually immediately. Right, so she's looking at my emails, setting up my calendar, communicating with all the clients, referral sources, everybody, to try and coordinate. So let me share with you what I believe is going to be her role and how she's going to work with us. So ultimately, I've always wanted the clients to feel like they had a concierge, somebody you can go to that you know is going to, the second you send your message in, somebody's got that is going to guide you through the process. That's Brianna. Now, does she know it yet? No. So don't expect her to be able to guide you through everything day one. She just started. So we're going to get her through the process, get her to work with everybody within the team, get to know what everybody does. It's going to take a little bit of time, give her a little bit of a break. But when she gets her feet underneath her and she gets sprinting, this woman's a badass. She was working with me as my personal banker at my credit union. I couldn't stand her not working for me much longer, so I had to extract her. So Brianna, say hey to the group, and you guys will hear a lot more from her in the near future. Watch for her emails. Anything that she needs, get them for her, because she's only here to help you. Thanks, guys. We will talk to you guys on Tuesday.